Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukkake, your host. The various parties have made their way to hell, and it's already getting nuts. Quinny and Reginald arrived with a companion who blew up a shredder and gave away their position. Butthole landed next to Moonhammer, and they've been forced to battle a hydra, while two bosses from different dimensions were forced to merge into one body. What will happen now? In a hell where permanent death is on the table? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
Butthole, you're up first as the Hydra charges you. He is massive, slightly burnt, heads snapping in fury, and Ferdinand the Righteous is coming for you, Moonhammer and Bunny Hops, with 4 times the rage of a single-headed creature. To reset the scene, you are in the arena. There are kind of red sand buildings all around you, and kind of a vaguely collapsed, like, you know, a classic like Mordheim board, and or like Dwarven Forge. Like, here's a broken cityscape, but think likely what you've seen in kind of any war-torn city, where it's just like buildings that have been shelled or have been broken to a point where you can kind of see multiple floors. So you do have cover, certainly. Ferdinand does not give a shit about cover because Ferdinand is large and in charge. But for those of you who are slightly less large but still very much in charge, there is cover around. That said, it's one of those fancy sand sculpted arenas. So the things are solid, but they won't hold up to much. As you saw from Ferdinand kind of plowing through the first line of them, if he's going fast enough, he can just crush his way through these buildings, but they are there.
So it's like Godzilla versus scenery rules.
Yeah, kind of, but like smaller Godzilla.
How big is Ferdinand, if I want to?
Yeah, so Ferdinand is, I'm imagining him as like, if you take the body of like a Brachiosaurus, but shrink it by a little bit. So just kind of that like big, massive, like bean of a body, or like a lemon, just like a giant dino lemon. With kind of those big beefy, you know what? An elephant. Elephant's the right size. I was like, all I could think of were dinosaurs because I'm secretly a 4-year-old child. But there's actual creatures in the world
Tyler's
today.
Losing his mind.
Yeah. So it's a lemon dinosaur.
It's like a smaller Brachiosaurus lemon or an elephant. It's
This is why I'm glad we don't edit the shows anymore. Yeah, cool. Well, I think I've beat the descriptions. Everything else I'm going to be like, I don't know. It's a stick figure with a
3-headed
sword.
dragon elephant.
Oh my
I
god!
So four heads coming off the dino lemon elephant body. Wearing the suit. The heads, I think we can safely say, are roughly sort of horse head sized. So like big and snappy, but also small enough for, say, a Moonhammer to get a headlock on if a Moonhammer were so inclined. I'm just going to scale everything now based on lemons, Moonhammer grappling.
Yeah. How many lemons is it?
Yeah, it's well. If
Are we
it's like
talking dino or regular?
Yeah, well, if it's a dino lemon, it's got to be smaller. So think like a small dino lime. But if it was a human-sized lemon, then it'd be like several satchels of lemons, possibly as much as you need to prevent scurvy on a boat. So, you know, just these very relatable 2021 metaphors for us to imagine in our theater of the imagination. I mean, now I think we need a 3D printed mini of this because I don't know what else we're doing with our lives. So great. The lemon fin comes rushing at you, head snapping. You guys kind of leapt off of the sort of central plateau in the middle of the arena. So now you're kind of down on ground level. You and Moonhammer are up, doing an almost back-to-back, but not quite. Ferdinand is not far from you, unfortunately. He's coming in pretty hot. Also, literally because of the hot snakes. Butthole, what do you do?
Okay, so knowing Ferdinand's closing in and going to be honest right away, I think Butthole just... It's that moment in the movie when it's the slow-mo and like an action movie is the villain is running forward. So Ferdinand's coming forward and Butthole is just slowly starting to drift to the right. and Moonhammer's looking all cool with hammer strands. He's got his hammer up, and I'm going to say, name of the game from the Blade 2 soundtrack starts playing. If you remember that song at all, where it's like
By the Crystal Method. Yeah.
So that's
the name of the game.
Yeah, and just before the first name of the game, I was like, listen, all you motherfuckers, all you hear is blue flame. So he separated himself, his like move to the right. So Ferdinand might have to choose a target so the other can hit him in the flank. But he raises his hammer over his head and farts, and it's fucking, I hope it's majestic. I do not know how cleric powers work when you're standing next to the god who may not be a god anymore, but he's going for it anyways. Hoping to spark it off the scythe.
I will say, despite Moonhammer's untimely, well, not untimely because you planned it, timely death, the deification powers are still active for you, Ryan. I'm not going to depower you yet again after so many depowerings in a row.
Yeah.
I think what's important to remember is like the kind of like essence of Moonhammer continues to linger, not unlike the flatulence for which she stands in a room with no windows. So you're still able to draw on it. It's just sort of faded. So like it's still there. The worshippers of Moonhammer can still kind of call on that power. But it's not as sort of fervent as it once was. Like it's not like when you first got powered up by her again and did your like little Shrek transformation. Like it's not that powerful, but like you still got the power.
This is back to the original Butthole when like the goddess might not be real. There were questions, but
precisely.
The power
Yeah. The power of your belief has always been strong enough to kind of pseudo power these things anyway. So like aces.
So because of the cool music, then he rips a hell of a fart. It's way longer than when he's done this spell before. Like it's almost a full 3 seconds, and it's just like a vortex of flame sparking off his hammer to go hit the hydras in the face. I think he's aiming for the heads because he wants to try to get him a little bit thrown off. So let's see what happens, because I have to look up how this spell works because I haven't used it for 2 years. Okay, it's a DC 17 deck save for the creature.
I just love those deck saves on poor
17.
Ferdinand. Oof. Yeah, I got 13 and I get +0. So
when did
that's
Blue Flame get so good?
Well, it was always good at hitting, but it turned out that it gets upgraded as the levels go on. So it will do it'll do 9 damage, but that's real low because it does 3d8 radiant now.
Oh, hey.
Damn.
You're working your way up to a first level Eldritch Blast. I'm very impressed. Okay, great. 9 damage is solid on this guy. That's every I assure you, every little bit counts.
Great.
So the flame splashes against the creature as Name of the Flame plays in the background. It kind of like stumbles as it runs, but its heads are still locked on Moonhammer. It knows to win the redeification games, it's gotta take her out. So a distracting hit, but it is still focused on Moonhammer. Moonhammer, you're up. So you've watched the kind of fruits of your labor, I suppose, of your mighty cleric unleashing powers that you've inspired and given rise to. So you've dusted yourself off. You've wiped the sweat off your hammers. You're ready to rock and roll. So since this is your first time playing Moonhammer in a while, just give you a quick rundown on the sorts of powers you can expect that you've got. As I mentioned previously, you're living that sweet barbarian life. So there's a couple options that you can use to avoid the unfortunate mishap of the 1 in 4 yesterday that landed you face down in the dirt. So as a barbarian, you can be reckless if you want. And what reckless means is you're like, fuck this. You can hit me all you want because I'm pretty sure I can hit you harder, which means that you're easier to hit, but you also get to roll all of your attack rolls twice and pick the better one. So you can choose that if you want. Alternatively, you can fly into a rage that will give you bonuses to strength checks, as well as giving you additional damage because you're just full of fury. And you get to do 5 of those a day. So you've got a bunch of them. So don't feel like you need to be stingy with them. Just options available to you. Otherwise, I'm open to suggestions as to what you'd like to do as this now twice burnt hydra rushes towards you.
Okay. I know what I want to do, but like, yeah, I don't know how to do that within the confines of the game.
Totally fair. Tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you how we can do it.
Okay. Can I just like describe it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, I want to give, first of all, a little like acknowledging nod to Butthole. Like, yeah, okay, that was pretty good. You know, like using the farts and stuff. Just give him like a nice acknowledging nod. Then I'm going to stare down the hydra. I want to like tuck my head down because I'm just going to run full speed, like straight at the hydra.
Okay, amazing. So we're going for like a juggernaut style, like head down, like run and plow.
Yeah.
Just use all those veiny muscles to just really punch through. Okay, great. So I'm going to say your nod of approval is going to grant the ability of bless to Butthole. Butthole, you're so inspired by this small act of affirmation. Moonhammer clearly understands the value of positive reinforcement and encouragement.
I think I saved Moonhammer's life, and I did not get this much approval.
Yeah, I mean, like it's been a while. Things have changed. She's Mad Max.
I need some help now.
Yeah. She already died once. The stakes have never been higher.
Bless adds 1d4.
Yes, so you'll be able to add 1d4 to a skill check of any sort, which I believe involves attacking as well, if you're so inclined. Sick. And then Alysa, in terms of your attack, that sounds reckless to me because you're literally just being like, I'm going to run headfirst into you as hard as I can. So what that means is I'm going to have you roll your attack dice. So the d20s, if you grab those. And your what I'm going to have you do is you get 2 attacks. And normally this would be like 2 swings of the hammer. We're going to treat this just as like plowing in and then just punching for like running in, punching and headbutting, just going for like a full assault. It'll be kind of counted as these 2 attacks. The rules are often very restrictive in terms of, or prescriptive rather, in terms of like what they say you're technically doing. We don't need to worry about that so much. I would always rather hear you describe an awesome attack and be like, cool, well, that still just counts as like whatever it is on your sheet. But like, that's much more fun to me than like, I attack. Okay, great. Cool. And yes, I do 3 points of damage. Oh, very good. Okay, well, he's taken 3 points. Like, fuck that noise. I run into his gut and he like vomits fire because I hit him hard enough.
I like to like continue on this attack. Like, can I add to it?
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. If so, yes. There is actually a way we can do that. So, of course. Great. So let's go ahead and just roll to see kind of how you do out of the gate. So if you could roll me, please, a d20. So 20-sided die, and you're going to roll that twice and pick the better of the 2.
Okay. I got 16 on the first one and 7 on the second one.
Cool. So we'll go with the 16, and then your attack bonus is +9. So that brings us up to a 25. So you definitely hit.
Okay, sweet.
Like by a lot.
Okay.
So that's great. So you plow into Ferdinand as you know the bag of lemon-sized head starts snapping at you. You kind of ignore them entirely as you plow into his gut. So let's go ahead and roll your damage, and then we'll see how you continue the attack. Okay. So your damage is a d12, so a 12-sided die, and then I believe you are adding 5, but I could be mistaken. It should say under your I've listed it as your hammers there, but it should. I'm also just pulling your sheet up. So 1 sec.
Which one is it? Sorry.
Yes, it's +5. So where it says hammer swing, we're just using those statistics, even though you're not hitting with a hammer. So it's 1d12 +5. So roll your d12 and then add 5, please.
See, Moonhammer is a hammer herself, so it's all hammers.
Well, it's a hammerhead gesture. Like it really, this all
hammers all the way down.
Yep.
Okay, so it's 11 + 5, so it's 16.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
That is a solid hit on dear sweet Ferdinand. Okay, fantastic. So you plow in and you hear those unholy screeches that are its voice. You still have another attack. But you mentioned that you wanted to kind of press the advantage. What would you ideally like to do? Do you want to try and hit it for more damage? Do you want to try and like grab it and run with it? What madness would you like to get up to?
So I wanted to just like punch it so hard in the gut that my hammer like literally goes through its chest. And when I go to pull out the hammer, it like gets stuck on its rib cage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah.
Pull really hard and like pull out some of its frame.
Yeah. Okay. I like this. So you're going for like a full Mortal Kombat fatality. Like we have to have an X-ray cam to understand what's going on. The rating just went up by like several degrees. I love it. But it's also educational because we're getting an anatomy lesson. So go ahead and roll your attack to punch in. So that's going to be same deal. So 2 D20s. Roll them both and pick the best of the 2. And then we're going to add 9 to the highest.
So it's 14.
Okay, great. So that'll definitely hit. So go ahead and roll your D12 and add 5 again. And then we'll see how much ribcage you can rip out.
Sorry, 14 plus 9, I guess. And then, okay. And then, sorry, the D12 is 2.
2. Okay. And then we're adding 5. So 7 damage, and your hammer punches through the scales and gets lodged inside. Unfortunately, though, I mean, Moonhammer, you've punched through a bunch of things in your day, and you know what getting hooked on the inside of a rib cage feels like. And unfortunately, because you're not particularly familiar with the complex physiology of hydras, you just don't think you quite got there. So like you can feel your hammer, which I guess being porous probably has feeling sensation somehow, like scraping the bottom of a rib cage. And you're like, oh God, like it's fucking classic, right? Typical Monday. Just like it's not quite hooked. So
I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah, well, so's Ferdinand. So you're trying to sort out how you can hook this. I'm going to give you 2 options on your next turn. So think about this while we jump to other people. You can either attempt to hook the rib cage while you're in there, or you can pull out and try again. I'll leave that to you to think about, because on your turn, you're going to have to roll a check to see whether you're able to do that or whether your arm is stuck, just, tangled up in guts, as one does. So give that a think. But yeah, right now you're elbow deep in Hydra. Hail Hydra. All right. We cut to the field of ribbons as the threshers and the shredders begin to converge on the flaming wreckage of their compatriot. Reginald and Quinny, you dove for cover. Vex looks. You can see her like look from the burning wreckage to all the other ones and just kind of do like a full like Jackie Chan oh no take, where she kind of like puts her hands to her head and then kind of just mouths, "I am so sorry," and then she just ducks back under the paper. And you can see like kind of like the paper shift as she starts to like commando crawl away, because she's directly in the line of these things that are converging on you. You likely have only a few moments until the threshers reach you. Now, that said, they saw it explode. They didn't necessarily see you. So everyone is converging on this site, but it's a little bit like in a stealth video game when you blow some shit up and you aren't immediately seen. Everyone's got like the yellow exclamation marks or question marks above their heads, but they're not red yet. So they're doing that like scanning for you kind of thing. You have a couple moments to decide what to, or not to decide what to do, but to do something to prepare for their arrival. What do you do?
Tom, is there anything on the shredders that is either a ranged weapon or that is like not ground bound?
Ground bound meaning like the actual thresher machines with all the scythes?
Well, yeah, whatever the dangers are, is there anything in the air that they would send danger to?
No. So they are dressed like Shredder from the Ninja Turtles. If he didn't have cool ninja gear on, he instead just had like an ill-fitted City Works jumpsuit. So it's still like the Shredder gauntlets and like the bitch and Shredder masks, but then just over like really kind of formless, a little bit baggy, like kind of one size fits all jumpsuits. And they, you can see that they have a variety. Each of them has a multi-bladed shredding tool in addition to their gauntlets. And I should say they also have them on their shins. Like this is straight up just shredder, but worse. But on their backs, they have these things that think like a push lawnmower. So like a long stick with just a bunch of basically like a mini thresher. So their jobs are like kind of get out, and if there's anything that's stuck, they just kind of run it over. As a combat weapon, this thing would fucking suck to get hit with because it's just like many blades. It's like trying to clean a blender, you know. It's just not a great situation. But they have no ranged shit, and they have no aerial shit because they've never had to defend their threshers before. No one cares about these guys. They're out here like doing city work. They're not spoopy as far as you can tell. You don't know what they look like under the things.
Reginald is hiding. I'll turn to Quinny and go, okay, so I can absolutely just fly us the hell out of here if you want. Otherwise, do you have a plan?
I was going to look for exits. Yeah, like this isn't where we need to be. This is just a good starting point.
Alrighty, then let me show you an exit. And he takes out a gem and cracks it and just snorts the magic right out of it. And you just see him get like weirdly taller and a little bit thinner and spindly. And then he just reaches out and is like, climb on.
All right, what about Vex?
Recovering coward. And then he just starts floating 20 feet up into the air. So I have a flight speed of 20 feet per action or whatever. So I would like to fly away from this combat.
Okay. So just so I'm understanding this correctly, in terms of your transformation, did you like, is this like a Veruca Salt situation in like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where you just get to float, but you became like skinnier?
Well, I think it's always like he always changes his appearance a little bit when he gets drugged up. So this one's just vaguely avian. So imagine like a 25% shift towards Gary, and now he can kind of float around.
Just got a slightly more Slender Man thing going on.
Yeah,
that's fucked up. Okay, cool.
I have an hour worth of this. However, I can only move 20 feet. So theoretically, if I don't go high enough, the shredders could just walk and meet us.
Yeah, this is 100%. I think what's going on. Ryan, I'm gonna need I'm gonna say Constitution rather than Strength, because I don't think you've ever done this with a passenger. Like you've gained the ability to fly, but you've got a Quinny on you.
I agree. Let me see if I get disadvantage on that. There's always disadvantages to these powers.
What do you mean? Taking performance enhancing drugs has some kind of downside? Since when?
I know, exactly. That's why I think this is bullshit.
Look, I know several Olympic commissions that would agree with you that this is bullshit.
Okay, no, I'm all right.
So why not just let Russia win? Huh?
Let's see how this Constitution save goes. Oh, that's not bad. That's a 19.
Okay. All right. So you begin to float gently away. And you hear one of the shredders just go, "Hey, that looks like the guys who wrecked our thing, maybe. Let's get them!" And then they all start trundling after you. But again, they are wearing like ill-fitted jumpsuits, so they can't exactly run. So they're just kind of clumping along behind you as you slowly drift away, but they also can't chase particularly well.
Reginald's gonna look to Quinny in his arms and be like, "Okay, so I got about an hour. I think they might get tuckered out, but if we can see something that's like an obstacle, like a lake they would have to go around, or like a river of lava they can't cross or something, that's kind of where we want to go."
So Quinny, as you find yourself, your mind is immediately sort of cast back to your days as a navigator aboard the pirate vessel of that was later revealed to be Moby Death, the undead whale. But you know what to look for. You've been in situations like this before. So go ahead and roll. I think we'll say perception, but I will give you advantage both from having been here before and from your time being an expert navigator. I think you actually have that ability written down somewhere, but it's been a couple of years.
Years, yeah, geez.
Yeah. That's a 18.
18. Okay, so in looking around, there's the fields of shredded paper kind of go in every direction, in almost a somewhat Jesus, what's the term I'm looking for? It's not beatific, but just kind of that rolling pastures, like normally be like rolling green hills, and it's that, but just shredded paper. In the distance, you can see smoke from kind of like an incinerator of some sort. You can smell pulp on the air. There seems to be a sort of a mulching plant somewhere nearby. Pastoral. That's what I was looking for. A pastoral scene of paper. But in the direction that you guys are very slowly floating like the house from up, you can see that there is a line of sort of large dump trucks that are dumping sort of paper to be shredded. And you can see a bunch of shredders not wearing the gauntlets or the helmets, who are kind of like sorting stuff and like moving it around. And basically it almost looks like the sorting and staging site for the fields. And even though theoretically these are all allies to the people chasing you, the odds of them being able to just like, there'll be enough chaos that you guys should be able to float past. Also, the people there likely have no idea that you've done anything untoward. So that would seem to be the biggest distraction near you, unless you want to move away from the filing cabinet city toward the endless horizon of paper.
Yeah, no, I don't really want to go that way.
Yeah, I don't want you to either. That's why I described it so bleakly.
Looking down, what does Vex's situation look like? Does like seeing kind of almost like a top down like map view of like the Thresher's positions versus Vex's? Does it look like Vex has a way out?
Yeah, they're fully distracted by you guys. The Threshers themselves have turned to give chase, but they're slower than the Shredders. So it's just like a slow lumbering chase away from the scene. But yeah, you can see Vex kind of peek out from under the paper. She gives you a quick wave and a smile. And then she just kind of like full on cartoon, like Bugs Bunny leaping dives into the paper and disappears. But yeah, I think sort of one rogue to another. It was very much like a I'll catch up, like you guys go kind of thing, not like oh no, you fucked me. You fucked me.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So Quinny just like shrugged, like, all right, to the city, I guess.
Okay, so how are we gonna like fight about it now? Honestly, because he's sort of like now it's just autopiloting, moving 20 feet per every 6 seconds. He's like, okay, so we kind of have some time. So like, what's our plan after we get free from these guys? Because like, we got to find Manny, and we gotta
find Manny. I mean, I've got a pretty good hunch that he lives there or rules that if he's the new king of hell, which is a whole fucked up thing.
Okay, and I could stab him with the piss god, but I mean, will you kill him, piss god? And he holds the scythe in his hand so we can hear the piss god.
And Sun Scythe is just like, well, I mean, if I can, yeah, but if he's the king of hell, I mean, that's I don't know if I can. Also, if you've got contracts and stuff kicking around, I don't know if killing him is really going to stop any of that. Odds are he'll just pop up back here and be angrier.
Sun Scythe has got this in hand, right?
Just Quinny, can you also try touching the scythe? We haven't tried this, and I think there might be a way to do like a 3-way call. And I'll just hold it out so Quinny can also put a hand on the scythe.
Put my hand on the scythe.
Okay, can you?
Hi, I am the god Sun Scythe. Hello, new friend.
Oh. Hey, was that piss earlier?
Yes, I'm.
Damn it!
Yeah, look. Normally, I only use it
back.
Offensively. Where'd it go? Is he still here? I was gonna say I normally use it as an attack, but I was pissed off. Okay, hey, you're back. All right. Yeah, listen, sorry about that. It's normally an attack spell, but I found out that my sister got killed, and I was real mad about it. So sorry. It'll evaporate. It's hot here. Look, I can't kill. If we kill the god, he'll just pop back up here, I think. As long as he holds the throne of hell.
He's not a god. He's a king.
Well,
he's like a demon king.
Okay, well, that's a different story. If he's a demon king, I thought he was some kind of god.
No, I don't think he's a god.
Unless that's what he's working towards. We don't know much other than he has a lot of faces and he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's like as it is. The two of us, 3 of us. I don't know. Maybe Vex will show up. And that'll make 4. We're gonna need some more hands on deck here. Look, I got a buddy that died. And I'm pretty sure he was expecting to come here because Moonhammer ruled this place. So I don't know the timeline of like when Moonhammer died versus when this guy died and where he went. But if
Which buddy?
well, Butthole Farch, he looks kind of like you.
Oh man, everybody talks about that guy as though he's so great. I bet he's a dick.
He is, but you know, he grows on you after a couple seasons.
Like fall and winter, or are we talking like a spring summer kind of situation?
I mean, I think it was summer when we met. I can't remember.
I understand. Yeah, it's easy to like people in the summer. That's actually, it's a funny story. That's why Moonhammer and I let the captain hang out with us in the first place. That was a big fucking mistake. You should never trust that guy. That,
the
Plantier
Sunscythe knows the captain. The captain might be a later problem, but still definitely a problem. We got.
Yeah,
he's a problem, all
I
right.
hope he's not down here.
Oh wait, is he down here? If he is,
I hope he's not down here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. We are not cowards.
Okay.
Oh,
If a scythe could have shifty eyes looking towards Reginald, it just like twists slightly in your hand, glinting back and forth.
The little lightsaber blade Papa thing just turns on its own at the end, and that's where it can look from.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to find your friend Butthole. I don't think wandering around hell asking people where we can find Butthole will end well for any of us.
No, he usually makes his presence known. I'm just saying keep your eyes out for him. I think we need to just infiltrate the city. We need to figure out how this place works, where Manny is, right? Like, I mean, my hunch would be that. And he just points to like the tallest like obelisk on the horizon.
Yeah, there's a very clear like it's think kind of like a Gondor-esque situation where there's kind of like one big kind of central very clear like
okay, so it's like incredibly obvious. Like we're just like that one.
Yeah. There's
like
a clear ruler
massive
stack, and then
tower,
there are smaller ones kind of in rings around it. So it's like a circular stack of filing cabinets around one kind of massive one.
Okay, so we can make our way that way.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, we try to do... All of my tactics are horde tactics, so they sound really terrible. But then again, everybody here is in hell, so they kind of deserve it. I don't know. We could kidnap some people who look important and then, like, torture them for information. We could, maybe capture a demon. They seem fucking awful, and make them do stuff to tell us what's going on. Like,
if this guy is, like, a new ruler, all right, go with me on this. He's a new ruler. You think he's kind of instituted some kind of, like, laws or new creed or whatever for this place, because it looks super different. So I'm assuming
that's thinking like horde. Yeah. That people are going to be pissed off that everything's different. So we could just find some pissed off person and be like, we'd like to join your team, and then stab, new king.
Yeah, generally when there are rules, there are rule breakers. And if this guy's in charge, people that break his rules could be our allies. Tom McGee, I would like to use my criminal contact skill to see if I know anyone in hell.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
Damn, son. That's what I get for taking a moment to write down a couple names of things I might need eventually. I'm not prepared. Yeah. You sure do. All right. So, there's a kind of like lesser temptation demon named Peeps McFadden, who you used to go to for information kind of about the comings and goings of some of the archdukes and archfiends down here. Peeps McFadden is think like Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc., but if he'd spent some time in jail. So he's got like a single tear tattoo like under his big central eye. Okay. Yeah. And he's super jacked, but his arms are still tiny. They're just very muscly. Peeps used to run a pleasure den called Peeps on the Cheaps.
Oh my god.
So Peeps on the Cheaps was in what used to be kind of the red light district of Duella's Hell. That said, Duella's Hell was much different than this. You can see as you're floating kind of in the distance, the amidst a lot of these paper piles, you can see the low-lying buildings. I think you pretty much stayed to Duella's capital city. I don't think you spent a lot of time out of it.
It's becoming clearer and clearer now that I was being sent by Manny to kill people to like destabilize the region so that he could like come in and take over.
You are correct.
Yeah.
So Pandemonium is her kind of capital city. And you spent a lot of time in Pandemonium. You stayed away from the exterior places. From what you've been told from your companions since your escape from hell, it would seem that you were destined for kind of one of these lesser spots that are actually like not that bad, just kind of like inconvenient hells, given the redemption you'd earned from your heroic sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see those buildings that you always kind of had an ill feeling about, buried under the papers now, seemingly abandoned. So you get a rough sense of kind of where these outskirts were, but you're also really not sure if Peeps on the Cheaps is still even there, because the landscape is so drastically different. But if it is, Peeps owes you a favor from back in the day, so he might be the guy to talk to.
Okay. I relay this to Reginald. There's nothing salacious or like, and no need to be secretive about it. And basically just point in the, like, I try to kind of gauge like this place is really different, but that kind of area, Peeps might be down there if you want to, we get some local intel going.
Great. So Reginald, fly past their distraction, and then he'll just head that direction. I think he's very on board for this plan.
Sure. We will need to deal with that distraction, though. But we will deal with that in a moment, because as you start to approach, one of the shredders filing just says, "Hey guys, were we expecting a balloon man today?" And the four-person kind of comes in and says, "Nope, not till tomorrow." They look up like, "Hey you, balloon fella, what's the password?"
What? No. Well, it's a health and safety inspection. Just carry on.
Tyler, get ready to roll some dice when we get back to you in a minute. Juniper, you find yourself floating in a void. You don't really seem to have a body per se, but you do have a sense of self. As you kind of look around, oddly, you can see shimmers, almost like floating lights around you. And in them, you recognize some of your other personas. You see Grandpa Warwick. You see Echo. You see Juniper, sort of floating. And as your eyes adjust to this kind of non-space, you also recognize Old West Moss and her iterations. Although for her, the personas seem to be a part of her kind of floating aura rather than distinctly separate. And in this space, you kind of hear, almost as though you're underwater, the voice of Rhett, just sort of saying, "All right, so there's no good way to explain where you are, so just bear with me. This needn't be permanent. If you find yourself back in your original earthly body, you may choose to return. You may choose to continue to be one. What's important for me, and to make sure that, reality doesn't unfold, is that here there is only one of you, because this hell can only accommodate one of anyone. If there are multiples here, everything kind of shreds. So for now, the two must become one." Juniper, you can almost, even though he's not with you, you almost feel his gaze turn on you. And he says, "Juniper, Moss here never had your persona. It is something new that you will add to the mix. As you know, Moss also suffered a grievous injury in her world that has altered her state of being somewhat. As you merge with her, so too will this merge with you. As the two of you become one, your memories will become hers, hers will become yours, and the line between you will blur. Now, again, this is reversible down the road if you so desire, but that's really none of my business. Retcon is only here for this particular piece of the business. Beyond that, it's up to you. Mechanically, what this will mean is as your essence merges with Old West Moss's essence, you're going to kind of essentially take on the persona of Juniper is going to, in a way, almost become, you can think of it mechanically as a druidic shapeshift form. So rather than your traditional, hey, like I'm a shapeshifter, I can, change shapes and I have all this sort of stuff. One of the rules on the combat wheelchair, which of course Old West Moss uses, is that when you take on a beast form, the chair merges with you. And I think the best way to think about this is that as your state of being merges with Old West Moss's state of being, with tremendous effort, you will be able to transform your entire self into an aspect of your sort of current Juniper and like sort of OG Juniper. So if you want to become Echo or Juniper or Grandpa Warwick or any of these things, it's a conscious force of effort that will also be, admittedly, a huge strain on you and rather painful because essentially, rather than Old West Moss, who is in her chair permanently because of the way her body works now, modern Moss, it'll be almost more like a weakening disease or something that has just causes tremendous fatigue very quickly. So you'll be able to fully morph for a time. We're going to say this is a once per long rest situation. And the best way to think of it is, again, in those druidic transformation forms. I certainly don't want to imply that Old West Moss is suddenly able to do things she wasn't previously able to, but more so that by merging with current Moss, a new sort of suite of transformational abilities is available to both of you. You also hear Old West Moss in your head kind of say, listen, my main concern is getting all my people back. But it seems to me that, if what happened to my world happens to any of those other worlds, it's kind of a moot point. And it seems to me like you kind of know what's going on here in a way I don't necessarily. So I'm willing to let you kind of take the driver's seat, as it were, for a bit. I'll be here to help you, but it seems like you got a better grasp of what's going on out here, and I'll help you where I can. But I'm happy to let you drive the bus for a bit, if that makes sense to you.
Well, sure, but we're equal partners in this, right?
Oh, yeah. Look, we shook on it.
I want to be clear.
Yeah, no, I take your word as, look, it seems to me that I'm kind of talking to myself here, so I don't doubt your intentions whatsoever. But it would just seem to me that I'm going to be of a lot less use to you because, quite frankly, my world was pretty small a few days ago, and now it's awful big. So until I get a better lay of the land, why don't we let Juniper kind of be our face for the world, and I'll help out where I can.
Okay. I just know that I'm sure you have like a lot to offer.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying I don't. I'm just kind of confused and a little terrified right now. First time in hell. Also, my whole world just exploded. So I'm processing some pretty heavy stuff here. But rest assured, like I'm all in. I just became a sheriff, and I take that responsibility very, very seriously.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Congratulations to you. If we're going to be sharing a body for a bit, looks like you're a sheriff too.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Well, congratulations, Sheriff Juniper.
Oh, Sheriff Juniper.
Yeah, right? It's fun, isn't it?
Feels like a new persona.
Honestly, it's all new to me. Also, I'll teach you how to shoot. I suspect we're both going to need that. But honestly, just happy to have you on the team. Happy to be a part of your team. And I think this is the beginning of a beautiful, vaguely self-indulgent partnership, given that we're just each other.
Yeah. Likewise. Let's do it.
Cool. Well, this is one great collide I can get behind.
Yay. Can I ask you a quick question just because I want to make sure I'm understanding this mechanically for my brain? So the Juniper, as the central character, we'll just use the term Juniper for the merge. Mm-hmm. The Moss like fallback personality, and Juniper herself are in the combat wheelchair, but the personas are not because they merge in, or it's just the Moss is in.
So everyone is merging into one being in the combat wheelchair. If Juniper wants to re-evoke the personas she has used previously, with the combination of their abilities and the sort of merging, she'll be able to essentially beast form the entire combat wheelchair and body into that form for a limited amount of time. And that's Juniper. That is, if she wants to be OG Moss, basically any of the personas she's got, she can essentially polymorph her entire being into for a short spell of time.
Okay, so that here's my level of confusion, which is Juniper is a persona of the Juniper character. So now Moss body is the central body, but she can morph into Juniper, any of the other personas? Yeah,
it's always going to be confusing because there's multiple Mosses, and technically Moss is the base character for both of these characters, right? So if we're looking at Moss is is the actual person, right? So we've got Moss, and we've got Old West Moss. Mm-hmm. Old West Moss, because of her injury, is permanently stuck in a sort of multi-shift form and is unable to walk anymore. This Moss is merging with that Moss to become kind of one dual Moss.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah. I think I'm just trying to understand what the base form of new body is.
It is going to be Juniper in the combat wheelchair, because Old West Moss is asking OG Moss / Juniper to take the lead. Essentially, what I want to do is find a way for us to not have kind of two versions of Moss running around at the same time with similar goals, but one of whom has like none of the context for what's going on.
Oh yeah, no, that all made perfect sense. I was just trying to understand that, like, day to day in a combat wheelchair, personas outside of that not combat wheelchair, because wheelchair folds into body magically. That's literally all I was said. I can picture it now.
So and it makes sense because Juniper is also like the primary persona, so it's not like a tremendous amount of effort to become Juniper like it would be the other personas.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially, we're now treating our kind of standard Moss, our standard Juniper, almost as having druidic powers. So rather than just switch faces different, it's like full transformation. We collectively are this thing, transform back out, back to natural state.
How long do I get that?
It lasts for an hour. You can keep it going longer, but you'll take levels of exhaustion for each additional hour. Just because this is a tremendous effort, since you aren't a druid and you aren't technically transforming. But just wanting to respect the state of both characters and the state of their bodies and their situations. So that is where we're going to land on that for now.
Awesome.
Cool.
I love it.
So with that, there's the sort of essences merge centrally, and as you blink your eyes, Juniper, you find yourself back in the room, and you can see a very relieved looking Rhett fully take down like a whole mass of red strings, and he just kind of like winds them up. And he says, "Thank you. If you hadn't found common ground, all of these horrible realities would have come to pass. And because of you, they won't. So thank you, Moss and Juniper. You've already managed to save thousands of lives. Now, I do believe I rather cruelly removed you from an important situation. So I'm just going to send you back there. It has been a true pleasure. And, well, best of luck. Always strange having new roommates, am I right? If you see any of the other hosts, say hi to me. Say hi for me. Oh, wish I could retcon that." And then he claps, and suddenly, Juniper, you find yourself falling through the sky again, plummeting towards a hydra who is screaming in rage. And next to the hydra, you see your old pal, Butthole Farch.
Wait, where are we? Wait, where are we going? Wait, oh shit.
And in your head, you hear Old West Moss just say, "Oh, hey, you're going to want to hit the grav repulses there real fast. Otherwise, we're going to smash the ground real hard." And you find your hand drifting over to the control button on the combat wheelchair. And the anti-grav is activated. You find yourself falling much more smoothly, still at a rapid rate because it's not really built for this, but it creates just enough resistance that you're not like death dropping anymore. And with that, you land next to the one and only Butthole Farge.
Hey, good to see you. We really need to kill this hydra, though. So let's keep the focus over there, and we'll kiss later.
Okay.
Laura, roll for initiative, please.
Side note, your chair is really cool.
Thanks, 14.
Juniper at 14. Excellent. And having reunited part of the party, at least, the two of you turn to face Ferdinand the Hydra, who currently has an elbow-deep problem of an angry fucking dead god.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter, our special guest, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons logo is by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, Fire Unfriendly, Logan, Great Dane, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.